I'd like to call to order the City Council meeting for May 27th. It is 7 o'clock p.m. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silent meditation. Okay, we'll start with a roll call.
Mayor Scott Nickel.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Frank Gerton. Councilmember Adam Dyer.
Here.
Councilmember Susan Romey. Here. Councilmember David Nutt.
A motion to excuse Councilmember Nutt.
I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Nutt.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next is additions, deletions, or changes to the agenda, if any. Does anyone in council have anything they think needs to be changed? Hearing none, we'll move on to presentations, proclamations, and introductions. We have a proclamation for Space Force Day, but it's my understanding there's nobody here from Space Force to represent that, so I will sign that and we will make sure we get that to them. Next is approval of minutes. The first one is approval of the workshop minutes from May 13th, 2025.
Approve.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next is approve the regular council meeting minutes from May 13th, 2025.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular council meeting minutes from May 13th.
Second.
A motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Deputy Mayor Gerton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. On to city manager's report. We have a special guest tonight. David.
Thank you. I will try to fill in for John the best I can. We have no action items, just a couple informational items. The first is the city received information or noticed that we received a cybersecurity grant from the Florida Department of Management Services for cybersecurity measures. Specifically, the city will receive 2 years worth of new antivirus software usage, asset management system, and a new external firewall hardware. A special thanks goes to Chief Information Officer Dominic Hamilton and Assistant to the City Manager Ori for their hard work on this. So basically, we're going to get 2 years out of 3 years, 2 years for free, which is nice.
Good.
We also received notice that we received a grant from the Florida Department of Health, Division of Emergency Preparedness and Community Support, Emergency Medical Services, matching grant in the amount of $16,993.50 with a local matching of $5,364 to offset the city's expense in upgrading the fire department's ability to respond to medical emergencies. Special thanks goes to Chief Lewis for seeking out alternative sources to revenue to minimize the use of tax dollars. I know he's working on getting all his people certified so they can respond to medical emergencies, which I know from the police department's perspective, we can't wait for that to happen. Update on the South Patrick paving project. We recently received information from the Department of Transportation that the final construction plans are completed and the project was advertised for bids on April 25th of 2025. The project includes milling, resurfacing of 5.3 miles of South Patrick Drive, restriping, providing bike lanes where they do not already exist, reconstructing some curbs, improving safety, updating pedestrian curb ramps to meet ADA requirements. It also includes a utility plans to install a boulevard force main at Banana River Drive. DOT expects the construction to begin later this summer. I know that City Manager Coffey had printed the designs. They're up in his office, so if anyone wants to take a look at them, they're up there for your review. The Ronnie Drive Stormwater Project update. All the contractor has submitted the completed pre-construction submittals. Work was supposed to start on the 19th, however, it's been delayed. So we're not quite sure when it's going to start next. We're still hoping that completion will be sometime in June. The plan update. The vendor has framed the preliminary assessment for the comp plan and performed the local research. The kickoff meeting is scheduled with the city staff and the consultant on June the 2nd. The legislative update, the last date of the regular session was May 2nd. However, the House and the Senate could not agree on a budget, so legislation passed Resolution 1631. The resolution extends the session till June 30th. Traditional Indian Harbor Beach legislation tracker is attached and will be provided at each council meeting until the final decisions are made by Governor DeSantis. Tentative agenda items for the next regular scheduled meeting, which is June 24th. If everything goes well, we'll have a second reading for the Waste Management Franchise Agreement extension. Ordinance 2504, which is low-speed vehicle parking at beach parks, which will be the first reading. The City Hall Baffle Box Project Award and the contract, and the replacement of playground units award of contract. Upcoming events, there's 30 of them. One thing I missed, we have employee recognition. The police department, Officer Dennis and Officer Malagon was recognized by a citizen who wanted to stop by and recognize the department, in particular those two officers, for her husband's had some failing health, and we responded over there quite a few times to do lift assist, and wanted to recognize the department, in particular those officers, for showing compassion and care and how gentle they are with their husband in their time of need. So thanks, Officer Dennis and Officer Malagon. Upcoming events, we have not this Friday, but the following Friday, June 6th, we have the city's 70th anniversary gathering. There's going to be food trucks, bounce houses, face painting. Should be a nice event out there. It's from 4 to 6. And then the following day, which is our annual Shark in the Park race, which starts at 7:30 a.m. We'll probably have between 400 to 500 runners in that event. It's always a great event to participate in. Special election is on June 10th, which is why we don't have a council meeting on that day. We have beach cleanup and station ribbon cutting ceremony and beach cleanup event on Saturday, June 14th at 9 a.m. and beach cleanup as well as at 9 a.m. at Bicentennial on June 14th. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. Next is City Attorney's report.
Quiet. How do you always get those ones?
All right, next is council comments. I'll start with Deputy Mayor Gerton.
I pass.
Councilmember Roy.
Just wanted to mention that I'm happy to see we have the low-speed vehicle workshop on the 14th of July. As 4 different residents, as the weather is getting much better and everyone's using their low-speed vehicles, have spoken to me about the difficulty if you don't have an original title to the low-speed vehicle. It's no longer that you have to tow the low-speed vehicle to Titusville, you have to tow it to DeLand, Florida. So these people were just expressing frustration. I said, well, come to the workshop and, talk about it there. So that's all I have to say right now.
Okay. Councilmember Dyer.
No comment.
Okay. And I have no comments. All right, next is public comments, and this is on agenda items only. And in this case, I did get a speaker card. So we have two places. We have public comments early in the agenda, and then later we have public comments, public forum at the end of the agenda. However, since one of the agenda items is the waste management contract, there is a person here, Christina McGee. If you'd like to come up, please state your name and address, and you'll have 3 minutes. And then I think what we'll do is when we get to that item on the agenda, then there's folks from Waste Management here that can address your comments at that time.
Wonderful.
Okay.
And thanks, everybody. I'm Christina McGee. I live at 235 Lansing Island Drive. And I have noticed a significant fall off in our service from Waste Management since the pandemic has concluded. And, so now we're talking several years. since the pandemic concluded and understood there would be some difficulty coming back from the pandemic. I know employers are having difficulty. It's hard to get people. There was a lot of competition. Understand all those things. And yet, now here we are in 2025, and I have not seen any improvement. And then I saw on the agenda that you folks would be considering the upcoming contract with Waste Management. And I think you need to know that there have been some real difficulties. We lost our yard waste pickup. Before we could haul all of our stuff out, put it on the verge, and it would get taken away. And that no longer happens. Instead, we have to put our things into cans. Not such a hardship, except big palm fronds don't really fit in our cans. And so a lot of people have difficulty making that happen. When Waste Management does not appear on our yard waste day, which is Monday, all of our cans are full of yard waste, palm fronds, all those things we've kind of shoved in there to make sure they'd be available for pickup. Our household waste pickup date is Tuesday. And so we have our cans full of palm fronds, and we have nowhere to put our household garbage. If you just put your household garbage on top of the yard waste, and the Waste Management drivers see the yard waste peeking out of the cans, that's a no-go. They won't pick it up. So now you've got all of your household waste, all of your yard waste, and then the next day is recycles. And sometimes they get picked up, and sometimes they don't. You know, it's reached a proportion of a lack of service that I thought it was important to bring it to the council's attention as you consider your relationship going forward with this vendor. And that's all I need to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. All right, we have no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business, starting off with item number 5, which is public hearing for second reading of ordinance number 2025-01, which is the mid-year budget amendment. I'll read the ordinance into the record. Ordinance number 2025-01, an ordinance amending budget ordinance number 2024-06, as amended by ordinance number 2024-09 for fiscal year October 1st, 2024 through September 30th, 2025, by changing certain amounts shown as anticipated operating expenditures, resulting in an overall decrease of $626,652 in the general fund, providing for severability and an effective date. Chief Butler.
Yes, thank you. On September 23rd of 2024, the City Council adopted fiscal year budget, or approved fiscal year budget, which included all funds budget of the amount of $12,758,206 and a general fund budget of $12,348,851. On November 19th, 2024, the City Council amended fiscal year approved budget via Ordinance 2409, which increased the general fund budget to $15,851,851 by recognizing previously budgeted grant fund projects and other non-completed capital projects. Ordinance number 2501 will decrease the general fund budget by $626,652 to a new total of $15,225,199. A summary of the changes are included below. The decrease was 1.1 million, a little over 1.1 million in state grant line items due to stormwater project costs being lower than originally budgeted, and an increase of 540,000 in state grant line items to recognize new grant awards for City Hall baffle box. The general fund budget decreased by 626. So that revenue decrease, we reduced the expenditures decrease of $626,652. The decrease of $219,902 is in personnel budgets to the police department and public works vacancies, and the decrease to the grant budget, which we already discussed. This increase will increase of $200,000 will be added to the Algonquin Sports Complex expansion project budget to lessen the required use of fund balance, and an increase of $18,902 to the city manager contingency account. On May 13, 2025, the City Council approved Ordinance 2501 on first reading. Staff recommends that City Council adopt on second reading Ordinance 2501, amending the budget.
Okay, thank you. This is a public hearing, so I'll open the public hearing. If anyone in the audience wishes to speak on ordinance 2025-01, please come forward and state your name and address. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council. Anybody on council have any comments? I would entertain a
I'd like
motion.
to make a motion to adopt the second reading of ordinance number 2025-01, amending the budget.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Councilmember Romy. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next is item number 6, which is also a public hearing, second reading of ordinance number 2025-02, dune protection. I will read it into the record. Ordinance number 2025-02, an ordinance of the City of Indian Harbor Beach, Brevard County, Florida, relating to the protection of coastal sand dunes, establishing prohibited activities on dunes, providing for a citation for violations, providing for a fine schedule and hearing process, providing for severability, repeal, codification, and an effective date. Chief Butler.
Yes, thank you. After the recent beach renervance project, adjacent property owners requested that the city take action against individuals disturbing new dunes and associated new vegetation. Unfortunately, the city does not have a specific prohibitions against disturbing the dunes, and there is no easy-to-enforce state statute or code available. On March 25th of this year, the City Council directed staff to draft an ordinance protecting the dunes and enabling local law enforcement to enforce. The attached is the draft ordinance which prohibits the following actions: walking, running, otherwise traversing coastal dunes except in designated areas, remove or damage vegetation, operate motor vehicles on the dunes, create new pathways or walkways, remove sand from the dune system, place or leave personal items on the dunes. Construction and temporary or permanent structure on the dunes without permit is unauthorized. Additionally, the ordinance contains an enforcement mechanism with citations starting at $50, which can be issued by local law enforcement. On May 13th, City Council approved Ordinance 2502 on first reading. Staff recommends the City Council adopt on second reading Ordinance 2502 establishing protections to coastal beach dunes and enforcement for noncompliance.
Okay, thank you. This is also a public hearing, so I will open this up to the public. If anyone wishes to speak for second reading of ordinance number 2025-02. Hearing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to council.
Motion to approve adoption on the second, on 2025-02, establishing protections for coastal beach dunes and enforcement for non-compliance.
Second.
I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, item number 7, first reading of ordinance number 2025-03, which is waste management franchise extension. I'll read the ordinance into the record. Ordinance number 2025-03, an ordinance of the City of Indian Harbor Beach, Brevard County, Florida, amending ordinance 2020-11, exclusive solid waste collection franchise in favor of Waste Management, Inc. of Florida, amending definitions, amending the term of the franchise, amending the duty of the collector, amending the standards of collection and operation, amending provisions relating to complaints and the duty of the customer, amending provisions relating to the duties of the collector, yard trash collection, bulk yard waste, amending provisions relating to record keeping and quarterly reporting, providing for repeal and an effective date. Chief Butler.
Yes. On December 8th of 2020, the city approved ordinance number 2012, adopting a new exclusive franchise agreement with Waste Management, Inc. of Florida for solid waste services. The agreement expires on December 31st of 2025, and both parties can mutually extend the agreement for successive 5-year periods. Earlier this year, Waste Management representatives approached the city with a proposal to extend the franchise agreement as summarized below and detailed via underlined strike-through format in the attached draft ordinance of 2503. Some of the additions is they added a definition for e-waste, provisions for recycling containers on public use in city parks, which will be provided. Cease the requirement for residents to schedule bulk waste pickups in lieu of once a week regular scheduled services. So instead of having to call, it would just happen weekly, once a week. Increase fees for the second request to change the size and for additional carts. Clarification that yard waste will not be bagged. Clarification that yard waste must be placed in waste management provided carts, and removal of the fuel component to annual increase calculations. Staff recommends City Council approve on first reading ordinance number 2025-03, amending ordinance number 2020-11 by extending the waste management franchise agreement for 5 years.
Okay, thank you. I believe there's representatives from Waste Management here. I wouldn't mind if they came up and did a brief presentation of the changes, kind of the highlights of the changes, and also to answer the residents' questions or concerns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good evening, everyone. My name is Dina Ryder-Hicks. I am currently the Area Director of Public Sector for our WM South Atlantic Market Area in Charlotte, North Carolina. Previously, having served as the Government Affairs Manager here in Brevard County with WM. Joining me here is Jordan Chandler. He is the new me. He is our new individual that is taking over my former role here at WM here in Brevard County. Also joining me over here seated, Luigi Pace, who is our area manager for public sector for our Florida market area. So we've been working on this and bringing Jordan up to speed on all of the changes here that we're looking to take place here in the city, which we really think will be very beneficial. So to give you a couple of highlights here. Number one, with regard to yard waste collection. As you all know, there are two types of yard waste collection here in the city. One is carted yard waste. That has been in place for approximately 15 to 20 years, where carts have been provided, yard waste can be placed in carts. This is really for those small trimmings, leaves, grasses, those types of things. All of those go into a 96-gallon cart that is collected on Mondays here through the city. Then there's our secondary yard waste collection, which is also here available in the city, and that is what we call clam yard waste collection. That is for those large-scale wholesale cleanups. If you have exceptionally large palm fronds, if you have a large trimming, any large loose piles that are 3 cubic yards or greater are picked up by our clam truck. The way that it happens currently, there are two methods of collection for clam yard waste. One is residents can call in. They can contact WM via phone. They can go online and schedule the service. They can use our live chat feature. They can send an email. There are multiple ways they can schedule the service. The second way is through driver observation. This is effective, but certainly not the most effective way to collect yard waste. The reason being is the yard waste driver is the one that is noting the addresses of any piles of yard waste that are curbside. If he comes by on Monday and maybe a pile doesn't go out onto the lawn until Tuesday, it's going to be at least another week until he sees that pile curbside and then notes it, it goes back to dispatch, and then it's scheduled for service. Not the most efficient method. Neither is calling. It works, but again, residents don't always have the time to call. To Ms. McKee's point, we certainly don't want to be in a position where yard waste is sitting out there for long periods of time, particularly when we get to the point where, fortunately, we're in the rainy season now, but if it's dry, we certainly don't want that material, certainly sitting curbside when it's very dry outside. This will eliminate that. So what we will be doing is for clam yard waste service, it will be an actual routed service. Residents will have a service day just like they do for every other service. So just like they have, Tuesday, Friday for garbage, Tuesday for recycle, Monday for yard waste, they will have an actual routed day. Our routing analysts and our senior district manager, Mike Lewis, have been working on getting that routing underway. It looks like now, and we'll make sure that Jordan will make sure that you're provided with this information. It looks like now we will have clam yardways scheduled in the city Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So everyone will have a designated yard waste day. The other beauty of this is if residents have an emergency, for some reason they couldn't have gotten the pile out in time, if their service day is, say, for example, Monday, it doesn't get out until Tuesday, they can give us a call. Because of the fact that we already have a truck in the city, we can route that immediately for that Wednesday driver to say, hey, do us a favor, please go over to Lansing Island and make sure you pick this up at the end of your route. So there will be much more efficient service. Residents don't have to call, and they will have a regular yard waste day. As far as Ms. McKee's other concerns, we will absolutely address that, hands down. Jordan has already given her his card. We will be addressing that with the senior district manager. There could be some confusion over a route. There were some reroute balancing that happened recently. That could be part of the confusion. We did this after COVID, and as our population here continues to increase in Brevard County, we did do some rebalancing of the routes, and there could be something there, but we will certainly get to the bottom of it and make sure that that is corrected for sure. She should not be in a position where she has no place to put, trash for her trash day on Tuesday. So we will absolutely address that for certain. Going back to some of the other pieces on here, the notable ones, we really, as I'm sure many of you may have seen, WM is absolutely hands down the leader in the industry when it comes to sustainability. Recycling is at the forefront of our sustainability platforms, and we have an opportunity to really increase our public recycling footprint here in our parks. And we absolutely are on board. We were approached with the idea of doing this, and absolutely, we think it's going to be great. We'll have some receptacles at Gleason Park. We will have some carts, recycling carts at Oars and Paddles Park. I understand there are some other parks that are coming in the near term. We will certainly have some recycling receptacles there as well. Something that is available for the public to be able to take that water bottle and not put it in the trash. We definitely want them to put it in that recycle. We've also been talking internally about making sure that we have a good communication campaign for the city as well. We've done one a couple of years ago where we sent out some postcards and some information to residents so they understand the collection parameters and how things work. Like, for example, the clarification that we put in here regarding no yard waste bags, no yard waste can be in bags. That's not a WM rule, that is a county rule. The reason being is the county holds a contract with a processor that processes all of the yard waste. They mulch all of it. Their processing equipment cannot handle a bag of any kind. So that's the reason why that we cannot have yard waste in any bags. But we wanted to put that clarification in here so there was no confusion among the residents as to why that is the case. A couple of other items in here. Just that, clarification that yard waste must be placed in a WM-provided cart. This is not new. The city has had yard waste carts for quite some time, approximately 20 years. What we changed in the contract was it said that it must be in a container. So we just clarified what type of container that really is. So there was no significant change there, just a clarification of what type of container that we're talking about. So with that, I'm certainly happy to answer any questions, Jordan as well, and Luigi as well. And we thank you for the opportunity to speak with you here this evening.
Okay. Frank, do you have any comments?
Well, the only comments I have is, first of all, I've known Deanne and went with her at meetings and that type of thing. Anytime somebody's had a complaint in the city and told me about it, I either passed it on to her to go ahead and take care of it. And it's been taken care of. And I've also checked around with other companies, people that live in other areas, that type of thing. There's not anything better going on as far as I'm concerned. The only problem, it's not a problem, but you talk about, items in size not exceeding 4 feet in length and 24 inches in diameter. Yard waste shall not be placed in a bag of any kind. I understand that. All other solid waste shall be stacked and all that stuff. I have plenty of shrubs. And for the people that have plenty of shrubs, across the street, we have a pile that's been sitting there for a month. So I don't know, if somebody's been going by and calling, but it's been sitting there for a month. And of course, the person that has got it there is redoing the house. He doesn't live here. He lives in Palm Bay. Okay? So nobody was called or anything like that. Now, I can't call because they won't accept my call on somebody else's address, something like that. So I'm disappointed in that it hasn't been picked up, that situation there. Because if we had a bad storm or something like that, that, to me, needs to be taken care of without a problem for anybody in our city, because it's been there a month, and the pile gets higher and higher. So other than that, anytime I've had a problem, you've taken care of it, and that type of thing. And you're going to have ups and downs, there's no doubt about it. Times get tough, jobs get tough, that type of thing. So the only thing I expect for our people is, like you've been doing for me, is get on and get somebody over there. And I think we've done that with my cart. I had a problem with the cart, and I called in, that type of thing, and the cart was taken care of and fixed, and I have no cart problem. So you have to kind of squeak a little bit. There's no doubt about it. You have to squeak a little bit. But that's any organization that I've found, normally. Squeak a little bit, it's taken care of, and I have no problems with the majority of our pickup.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember.
I've had the privilege of meeting with you, and I'm excited to extend the contract. You guys have been great, and thank you for making it happen with getting the recycling bins in the parks and whatnot. So, thank you for everything.
Absolutely.
Okay, Councilmember Dyer.
Yes, I have noticed what Ms. McKee was speaking about with the yard debris, and we mentioned that in our last meeting. And the fix, I think, will definitely help the situation with the routed claw pickups, and also the improved recycling service at the previously negotiated price that we had with the city just on the extension. So the service is getting better at this pretty much the same price for the future. So that's the reason why I feel like, it was a good decision to renew the contract. So.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. And I would agree with that. I mean, there's been little bumps and bruises along the way. We know that. You came before us several years ago. All the COVID stuff drove a lot of the issues that were happening at the time with the labor shortages and whatnot. There's been little bumps here and there, but for the most part, I think you guys have performed very well. I do like the scheduled bulk yard pickup. That's a great way to go, I think. That way people aren't having to make that call and get online and try to navigate the website and all that stuff. And I do like the recycling expansion. I think it's fantastic that you're doing that. So, yes, that's all I have to say on that.
All right.
So with that, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Oh, goodness, I make a motion to approve. You know what, Adam or Frank, you could do this. I can't read it.
I'll go ahead and do it.
Sorry.
Motion to approve
It's going too fast.
ordinance number 2025-03, extending the waste management franchise agreement with specific changes in terms. And those terms were in the print.
Okay.
A second.
I have a motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, a second by Councilmember Romy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, on to item number 8, which is award of milling, paving, and striping contract. This is to consider awarding a milling, paving, and striping contract not to exceed $123,000 to Goodson Paving, Inc., and transferring the balance of the project budget to the Algonquin Sports Complex Expansion Project. Chief Butler.
Yes, thank you. Fiscal year '24 budget contains $232,200 for the annual milling and/or repaving project. Solicitations of bids were advertised in Florida Today on April 25th and May 2nd of this year in accordance with city charter requirements. The following bids were received. Good in paving for $122,708.40. Heavy civil for $151,550. MASCI General Contractor for $197,851.30. And Joe Bar Contracting for $377,106.25. Of note, Goods and Paving has performed the annual repaving project for the city in the last several years and has done a satisfactory manner. They are the lowest bidding company. Hence, the staff recommends the City Council award the contract not to exceed $123,000 to Goods and Paving for paving services as authorized by staff to authorize staff to transfer the budgetary savings in the amount of roughly $109,000 to the Algonquin Sports Complex expansion project.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone on council have any comments? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I just have one comment on this one. I know that we have the opportunity here with this Algonquin Sports Complex to really kind of make something that the city and the surrounding cities can visit and we can be proud of. And I think that with the unpaved parking lots, it does cause an issue with some of the kids potentially doing some donuts. And I know that in our sister city up in the north, they've had an unpaved parking lot for as long as I've been around, and it's a continued issue. So I'm glad that we're doing this, and I think we're doing it the right way. So,
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to award a contract not to exceed $123,000 to Goodson Paving Incorporated for paving services. Authorize staff to transfer the budgetary savings to the Algonquin Sports Complex expansion project.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilmember Dyer, a second by Deputy Mayor Gurton. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. All right, item number 9, tentative stormwater utility assessment rate. This is to consider adopting the fiscal year 26 mail-out notice stormwater utility assessment rate of $90 per ERU to be provided to all property owners ahead of the August 12th public hearing to adopt the rate and assessment roll. Chief Butler.
Yes, thank you. In 1992, the city adopted a municipal stormwater utility code and an non-ad valorem tax program as authorized by Florida State Statute 403-0893 to fund citywide stormwater improvement projects to reduce or eliminate pollutants entering the Indian River Lagoon. The stormwater utility rates have not increased since 2007. Due to inflation, the purchasing power of the $48 per equivalent residential unit, a year rate has eroded over 47% in those 17 years. In fiscal year 25, the city increased the ERU to $72 a year. With the state mandate to reduce pollutants loading the Indian River Lagoon, the city manager does not believe that the continuation of the $48 per equivalent residential ERU calculations is attainable. Proposed within the city's fiscal year 26 to 35-year financial model and capital improvement plan is fiscal year stormwater utility rate of $90 per year. Florida State Statute 197-3632 basically states that the city must advertise and give 20-day notice to let the citizens know that there's going to be a public hearing and they have a right to come and make any statement they want on that. The public hearing is adopted the 26th stormwater utility assessment rate and assessment roll will be advertised for August 12th. So this gives the community ample opportunity to attend this meeting. Staff recommends the City Council adopt fiscal year mail-out notice stormwater utility assessment rate of $90 per ERU to be provided to all property owners ahead of the August 12th public hearing and to adopt that rate and assessment roll.
Okay. Thank you. And just to clarify, this is to consider adopting the mail-out for this rate increase. It's not approving the rate increase.
Mayor, motion to adopt the FY '26 mail-out notice stormwater utility assessment rate of $90 per ERU to be provided to all property owners ahead of the August 12th public hearing to adopt the rate and assessment roll.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item number 10, school year 2025-2026, School Resource Officer Memorandum of Understanding. This is to consider authorizing the city manager to execute the Memorandum of Understanding for reimbursement of up to $74,500 for a school resource officer at Ocean Breeze Elementary School for school year 2025-2026. Chief Butler.
Yes, thank you. In 2018, Marjorie Stoneman Douglas Public Safety Act was adopted by Florida legislation and signed into law by Governor DeSantis. Since then, since 2018, the Indian Harbor Beach Police Department has had a school resource officer at Ocean Breeze Elementary School. This is a interlocal agreement with Brevard County to continue that program. The reimbursement this year is slated to be $74,500, which is $2,500 more than it was last year. Of note, the attached MOU now covers extended school year, summer school. If Ocean Breeze decides to have summer school, we would keep the SRO in place for the summer school. Staff recommends the city authorize the city manager to execute the proposed memorandum and understanding from Brevard County Public Schools. Just on a side note, Officer Jen Imparado does it. She does a great job.
Yeah.
And the program, we do more than what many other schools do. We do.
That's good.
She does a great job.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things from that service, so kudos to you and your staff. I'd like to authorize the city manager to execute the proposed memorandum of understanding from Brevard Public Schools.
Second.
So that's a motion, Adam?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Did I? Oh, yeah. Motion.
Didn't?
Yeah. Sorry.
Getting old, losing my hearing
I
apparently.
can't see, so it's all good.
Nice. That's good. Quite a collection up here. All right, motion by Councilmember Dyer, second by Councilmember Romy. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Next is public forums. Does anyone in the audience wish to come up and speak about anything? If so, come forward, state your name and address. Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion by Deputy Mayor Gerton, second by Councilmember Dyer. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. We are adjourned.
Good meeting, Mayor.
All right.